So we got a finite geometric sequence, so we know that it ends somewhere. We know that it doesn't keep on going, but I guess when it does end in part B, they say the last number is 45,927. Okay? We know term 1 and we know term 5. First of all, it says, can you determine term 2 and term 6? So for part A, this is again similar to that question we did in arithmetic sequences. We don't know what the common ratio is yet, but we can use our formula to figure that out. Okay? Our formula says that Tn is equal to term 1, and then you have r to the n minus 1. I'm going to show you how you would do this one using the formula, and then I'm going to show you how you could do this one using a different method, because I could give you this same question but not tell you term 1 and term 5. I could tell you term 8 and term 12, something like that. And that would make it a little bit harder, but not too bad. Because if I tell you term 1 and term 5, you can use the formula, because you already know what term 1 is. I know I can put a 7 in there. I don't know r. That's going to be something I want to figure out. In term n, you can pick any numbers and put in there, depending on what you choose for n. Can you see in this case, we know term 5? So for term 5, I can put 567. But if I do that, I know my n is 5, which is good. And then it's just a matter of figuring out what r is. So if I divide both sides by 7, I'm going to get 81. Divide by 7, divide by 7. That'll cancel those 7s out. And here I'm going to get r to the power of 4. Now maybe you know your powers really well, and this is one you can figure out. Okay? Sometimes there are going to be numbers that the r value is going to be a decimal. So I'm going to show you on your calculator as well how to do the opposite of doing something to the power of 4. The opposite of doing something to the power of 4 is a 4th root, right? That's one way you can do the opposite of a power of 4. If you chose to do it that way and you take out your calculator, in order to do a 4th root, it doesn't appear. There's a square root button here, but there's no 4th root button that appears easily. Okay?
Where's the math button?
But the math button has a few extra things. And the 5th one is xth root. Now on some calculators, when you push it, it gives you a space to write it. So mine, when I push it, allows me to write a 4th root in there, and then 81 to tell me that it's 3. If you have a TI-83, you have to push 4 first and then go to your math button and go to number 5. And it'll automatically put that 4 in. So you can do it both ways. Push the 4 first and then enter, and then it'll automatically put that in to your calculator. And you'll get the 4th root of 81. Now, if you don't like using 4th roots, okay? Another way of doing the opposite of this is doing to the power 1/4, because our exponent laws would say 4 times 1/4 would be 1, and that would just be r. So if I do to the 1/4 on that side, I do to the 1/4 on this side. And then it's just a matter of doing 81 to the power 1 divided by 4. Okay? If you have an older calculator, you may have to put the 1/4 in brackets when you write it by going 81, hat button, brackets, 1/4 to make sure that you get the 3. So try both of those to make sure that you can get the right answer. So now that we've figured out that r is 3, we can multiply term 1 by 3, and you can find out that term 2 will be 21. You could also find out term 2 by plugging it into the formula, because now we know term 1 and r. You could use the formula to find term 2. I could also use the formula to find term 6. Just to show you how that works, if I want to find term 6 with the formula, I know that term 1 is 7. I now know that r is 3. 6 would be 6 minus 1. I would type that into my calculator and get 1701. We'll probably have to do B next class, but I did want to show you another way to figure out r is 3, because sometimes, let's say this same question was given, but they said that it was term, what did I say before? Term 8 was equal to 7, and instead of term 5, term 12 was equal to 567. If you go from 8 to 12, how many times will you multiply by r? 4 times. So 7 multiplied by r 4 times would equal 567. Can you see that that's exactly the same as what appeared in our formula when we could use it as term 1? Because going from term 1 to term 5, you multiply by 4 times. So this would also give you r is 3. Okay, we'll start with part B next class.